All right. Welcome back. You know what time it is. That's right. Fan the Van podcast time on week 1 of NFL Sunday. Obviously, I had to rock the new kid on the block and Najee. I had to light up the first cigar of the year for football. Thanks to my boy Chris at South Shore Cigar. Thank you. It's going to be an interesting season of football. That's all I got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, obviously Pittsburgh gets TJ Watt re-signed. It's only TJ Watt can do it. Overruled all his agents who tried to tell him to hold out for more money. He took the best deal that's best for him. All right. We got a lot of interesting games today. So Jets-Panthers is one that comes to mind. You got Darnold going up against the Jets. And I was asked the other day who I think wins this game. It's going to be a tough one, I think. I don't think the Jets come out as fiery as you think they're going to. But if you ask me, I'd take the Jets. I'd take the points. I just don't think Darnold has what it takes in Carolina to get it done, even though they get McCaffrey back. But is McCaffrey going to be the same before his injury-ridden season last year? Or is he going to, kind of like Baltimore, take a step back this year? You also have Giants-Broncos today. And this is a big season for Daniel Jones. It's a big season for Joe Judge. And it's definitely a big season for Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas has got a lot to prove. He's going to protect Daniel Jones' blind side for the next 5 to 7 years. Daniel Jones has got to progress this year. Saquon Barkley's got to be healthier than ever. If the Giants don't make the playoffs this year, pretty much say goodbye to Daniel Jones, and you wasted a six pick in the first round on a quarterback that got you nowhere. And then you're still going to be on the search for Eli's replacement. And it's a shitty thing to think. It's a shitty thing to say. But you want me to be honest? As an outsider looking in, Giants fans, I want to give Danny Dimes all the hope in the world, but I don't think he's going to get it done. As long as Andrew Thomas is protecting his blind side, this kid's going to get eaten alive by every defensive line out there. I don't know what Gettleman did in these past two years worth of drafts, but apparently nobody's drafted is the answer to anything. So, listen, maybe Gettleman should take notes from our GM, Kevin Colbert, because to get one of the biggest acquisitions of the offseason in Joe Schobert for a 2023 6th-round draft pick, and certain Steeler fans, they asked me to go, why would we get him? Why would we get him? We don't need him. Listen, we need him. And we got him. And it don't cost that much because Jacksonville's paying half his salary. So it's a no-brainer to go out and get the guy. I think he kind of helps Devin Bush mature a little more. Obviously, if you watch Schobert from Cleveland to Jacksonville, he is definitely one of those. He's a generational talent, in my opinion. Obviously getting Najee in the draft was huge for the Steelers. Listen, for those who watch and listen, I didn't think we were getting him, but when we got him, I friggin' jumped through the friggin' roof. This has got to be the biggest draft pick we've had, I would say, in the first round since Shazier, TJ, Big Ben. The list goes on. Najee Harris being picked 24th ranks right up there with some of those draft picks of all time in Steeler history, if you ask me. You had to, in that pick, you had to make a splash there. The Steelers did it. And speaking of draft picks from this current past draft, there was a report that the Niners were in fear that Bill Belichick would go up and try to draft Mac Jones, try to get the 3rd pick. So the thing that boggles my mind is, if you traded up, get the 3rd pick, then why didn't San Francisco take Mac Jones? I was kind of thinking about that today when I stopped at Starbucks after I take my kid to the doctor this morning. But after that, I was thinking, I said, why would you be in fear that New England would have traded up to get Mac Jones? So you trade up, but you took Trey Lance. Listen, I'm not taking a dump on Trey Lance at all here. I think the kid's got something. He's going to be a quarterback of the future for the Niners. But if you were in fear of it, why would you go and trade up but not get the quarterback you were in fear of that New England would have got with the 15th pick anyway? I mean, come on. If you were John Lynch in that situation and Kyle Shanahan, and Mac Jones is there. And granted, nobody knew what Mac Jones was going to be. Nobody even knew that Mac Jones was going to take the starting job from Cam Newton. Every Patriot fan or supposed Patriot fan who's been a Patriot fan forever, everybody said it's Cam's job and Mac Jones is going to be riding the bench. Hell, even I thought it, okay? I figured when week 1 started today that Mac Jones would be sitting the Pine Pony and Cam Newton be out there looking like Marlon Wayans from Don't Be a Menace in South Central while drinking your juice. I mean, come on. But when the rookie, and I said it in my quick little audio podcast last night, when the rookie is teaching the veteran how to read the playbook, they don't call Belichick the genius for no fucking reason here, okay? You know, as much as we all despise New England for all the success they've had and the scandals that come along with it and how they've gotten away with so much and punished for so little, listen, we get it. But you can't deny the fact, going from college, especially coming from a program like Alabama with Nick Saban as your head coach, you got to look at some of the guys who have come out of Alabama who have thrived in the NFL. And it doesn't matter what position it is. I mean, look at, for a prime example, Minkah Fitzpatrick. Guess where he went to college? Alabama. Okay? Look at Isaiah Buggs on the defensive line for the Steelers. Another Alabama product who's a beast on the defensive line when he actually plays. You know, look at Devonta Smith's going to be a beast for Philly, assuming he could stay healthy this year. Jalen Hurts was with Alabama before he transferred himself to Oklahoma. And then, you know, you got Tua. He's another Alabama product. Alabama produces some of the most successful football players that I've seen in years past. I'm not saying that other college programs don't do it. Notre Dame's done it. I mean, you got Jerome Bettis, prime example. You know, Miami's done it with Michael Irvin. You know, I mean, the list goes on. But, you know, but again, for Cam Newton to just think he was going to be the starter week 1 and Mac Jones wasn't gunning for that number 1 spot, you're the type of person that still would have believed that Ja Rule would have beat 50 in a rap beef. It wasn't happening. It just wasn't happening. And, you know, and we got our own quarterback drama as far as if this is Ben's final ride. And, you know, the more I think about it, it has to be. Whether it comes with a ring or it doesn't, even if Ben has something left in the tank, to me, Ben has nothing left to prove. He's carried the city on his back for years in Pittsburgh. He's carried this team forever. He's gone through ups, downs. You know, you name it, Ben's gone through it, and we've rode with him till now. So, somebody at work asked me, who do I think would be the starting quarterback next year for the Pittsburgh Steelers? And it's a very touchy subject with me because it's not Mason Rudolph. I read all these comments about, you know, Mason's the heir apparent, Mason this, Mason this, Mason this. Listen, Mason's had 2 to 3 years to prove he could take the top spot, okay? I get in an 8-8 season, okay? He was okay, but let's again, you know, like me and Jay talked about a few weeks ago, let's call it what it really is in that injury-ridden season where we went 8-8. Let's call it what it is. He was mediocre at best, and the defense is what got us over the top, okay? Then he gets hurt. And then the Duck comes in. And the Duck was mediocre at best, too. I get it was a flash in the pan. You know, it was, you know, lightning strikes and Duck goes 3-0. Listen, it was all well and good. We all enjoyed it. But with this team assembled this year, the younger it got, and everybody's writing them off that they're going to be 4th in the AFC North. They have no chance against Buffalo this week. Listen, I'm going to tell you something right now. This Steeler team is a lot different from Steeler teams in the past. It's a lot different from the 70s Smash Mouth Steeler team. It's kind of gone back to what it was when we had Bettis and you had your complimentary wide receivers and you had you had a younger offensive line and a younger defense. That's kind of what this Steeler team resembles now with a new offensive coordinator actually knows how to run an offense. Okay, thank God Randy Fichtner is the fuck out of here. I mean, let's just be real. Thank God he's out of here. All right. You know, and people say that Ben can't thrive in this Matt Canada offense because it's for a more mobile quarterback. Matt Canada isn't the offensive coordinator for Ben. Okay, understand this. Okay. Ben's his own offensive coordinator. Ben has earned the right to change plays at the line. Like, case in point, look at Thursday's game. Byron Leftwich wants Brady to run a play, and he pretty much screams at him, hell no, I'm not running that, and Brady runs his own play. And even that game on Thursday night, listen, for the most watched game it's been since 2015 for an NFL opening night, and the fact that there was a lot of BS that went on with it. I mean, from the official on the hot mic to, oh, let's just say it was this, let's just say it was that, to the, was it pass interference, was it not pass interference? I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. That call could go either way, okay? And if I was the official, I would have thrown the flag on both. Because yes, Chris Goodwin did push off, but there was also defensive holding on the cornerback as well. Penalties would have offset. Who knows what the end result would be at that point if they replay that? Who knows? You don't know, I don't know. And we all know, though, that when it's Tom Brady on the field in a critical situation, you know Brady's getting the benefit of the doubt 99% of the time. I mean, go back to 2016, Jesse James. Need I say more? Catches the ball, makes a football move, recovers his own fumble in the end zone, and all of a sudden it's, let's just make up a penalty. That's in essence what it was. You mean to tell me he didn't survive the ground, okay? Okay, let's just hop back in all the fuckery of that, in that situation, okay? You mean to tell me he didn't catch that and then make a football move? And yeah, when he dove for the goal line, that the ball had already crossed it, then he fumbled it, then recovered it, and the officials don't see that? Come on. You and I all know what it really was. It was just to give Brady another victory, another notch under his belt. Let's just call it what it is. And I read a report the other day, and it's very interesting how sports betting and fantasy football are starting to have more of an impact on on these game results. And the more I didn't want to believe it, the more I'm starting to. And I don't like to be a conspiracy theorist at all here, but I mean, something's really got to give. I mean, you watch all these games, and you're an official on the field. I get you can't see every penalty that's committed. I understand it. But if I'm at home and I could see every holding call, and again, I get you don't need to call every holding call. You don't need to do it. You know, there's somewhere, you don't have to be flag happy in a game. You know, the clear and obvious ones, yeah, the ones that are like, okay, he held him for a second and then a flag's being thrown, those, again, to me, even Jay will tell you, those are ridiculous. But as far as this NFL season is concerned, not to bash officiating yet because it's only week one, and I don't want to start doing it yet. You know, give me and Jay to like week 4 or 5, and then we'll start bashing the shit out of it. But this NFL season, a lot of things got to go right for a lot of teams, especially for the Jets, okay? Especially for the Giants, okay? Obviously, if you're a Green Bay Packer fan, people already write reports that just give Green Bay the title now. You got to pump the brakes here. Pump the brakes. Green Bay hasn't played a game yet. Who knows if Aaron Rodgers is going to be the same Aaron Rodgers? Who knows if Devontae Adams is going to be the same Devontae Adams? But, do I see Green Bay winning the NFC North? Yeah, because they always do. Because Detroit's going to do what Detroit does best, and that's lose every week. Doesn't matter if they got Jared Goff. That don't matter at all. Minnesota is not going to do anything decent this year again. And Chicago, don't even listen. If you're a Bears fan and you watch and you listen, I, as a Steeler fan, think your head coach is an absolute fucking idiot. Your GM's a moron. You draft Justin Fields, and you're starting the Ginger Rifle, who's past his prime. Yeah, he kept Dallas afloat last year when Dak went down with the horrible injury. But if Justin Fields, and listen, it's preseason. We get it. But if Justin Fields is outshining Dalton in preseason, you don't think he's going to transfer that to the regular season? Justin Fields is the right direction in a rebuild. The same thing in Miami with Tua. But now Brian Flores has got an issue because he doesn't have a security blanket down there to protect Tua when he struggles. Now Tua's got to ride out those struggles. And I said it last night. Miami was on the verge of making a deal to get Deshaun Watson. But what Houston wants and what you're going to get are two different things entirely. You're in essence asking for 6 draft picks, 3 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, and you just throw a third-rounder in there. Or you want 6 players in return. for a guy who may or may not get indicted on human trafficking, sexual trafficking, and any other charge that you want to throw at him. Okay? No team is making that deal until his legal cloud disintegrates. That's it. Let's just call it what it is. It's not going to happen. Okay? That deal should have been done before all this came out. And me and Jay have spoke about it ad nauseum, how we think Houston has something to do with all these women coming out, you know, because it's just too coincidental. It's just really too coincidental to the fact that, you know, Watson wants out. You know, he wanted an impact on who the GM was going to be. And, you know, I've said it before, if you want an impact, you got to be around the team more in the offseason. You can't be sitting at home in your mansion in California or wherever it is you decide to dwell when there's no NFL season, and then sit there from the phone and say, no, I don't want that coach, I want this coach. Be there for the interviews then. You know, same thing with draft picks. And I get in the Green Bay case. Listen, Green Bay hasn't drafted a wide receiver or an offensive weapon for Aaron Rodgers since like 2004, okay? Aaron Rodgers in like the past 10 years hasn't thrown a touchdown to a first-round draft pick in like 10 years, okay? And, you know, and you would think that if they drafted better, Green Bay should have at least 2 to 3 more Super Bowls than the one that they have with Aaron Rodgers. And everybody sat there in Green Bay and they said Mike McCarthy was the problem. Listen, Mike McCarthy's not the problem. Even I think Mike McCarthy's an overhyped head coach because look at him in Dallas. Dallas is already in midseason form. I mean, they already suck. Zeke looked okay. Dak looked decent. Cooper looked okay. CeeDee Lamb is going to be a bust in this league. I'm sorry. The guy drops the easiest catches. It's almost like him and Evan Ingram are fucking cousins or something, okay? And that's the other issue with the Giants is Evan Ingram as a tight end needs to catch the ball more and block a lot better, okay? Because that'll help Daniel Jones progress as well. Sterling Shepard's going to do what he does, and Slayton's going to do what he does. But if this offensive line can't protect Daniel Jones, okay? They can't protect Daniel Jones, and they can't create running holes for Saquon Barkley to bust off for 30, 40 yards at a clip the way he did in his rookie year and the way he did in his second year before the injury, okay? The Giants will be what the Giants were last year. Last in the NFC East. But, you know, the Giants got to look at what the Jets did in the draft. See, if you take these two drafts, okay, and me, obviously, on the outside looking in, I have friends and relatives that are Giants fans. I have friends and relatives that are Giants fans, okay? And I've told Jet fans, I told my Uncle Joe, told my buddy Rob, listen, Jets dominated that draft. From the second pick to trading up to getting Vera Tucker to getting Elijah Moore to, in the offseason, getting Corey Davis, signing this guy, releasing this guy, and the Giants, what did they do? The same old. Nothing. They didn't do shit. In the draft, you traded down. You could have got Darisaw. Instead, you get this wide receiver, Tony. You already have enough wide receivers. You don't need another one, but you go and get him anyway. The Giants literally fixed none of their issues on this team at all. And if you're a Giants fan that thinks you're winning the NFC East, you're not. You're not winning it. You're not. And, you know, people ask me, who do I think is going to be the sleeper team as far as who makes the playoffs out of the AFC East? Listen, the Jets vastly improved, so you got to consider them in the equation. Miami is going to take a step back this year because Tua is going to struggle. There's going to be nobody there to, you know, there's going to be nobody there to cover it up, and he's going to have to deal with the struggles. That's just what it's going to be. And then, you know, does New England, now that Mac Jones is the quarterback, do they have a shot at the playoffs? It's really going to come down to this, if you want my honest opinion, when it comes to the AFC East and who makes it and who doesn't. It's going to come down to common opponents, and it's going to come to head-to-heads. And for those who don't know what I mean, it's pretty much going to come down to when the Jets play the Patriots, can they beat them twice? I'll give the Jets 1-1 with Buffalo. Do I think the Jets could beat Miami twice? Listen, if Zach Wilson is as advertised as everybody's projecting him to be, then yeah. And when you think about that, if you go back to the draft, and you go back to the regular season last year, and if the Jets don't beat the Rams and they still have the number 1 pick, if you're a Jets fan, and it's a legitimate question, do you still go with Zach Wilson, or would you take the uncertain looking, you know, toy that was coming out of the toy chest in Trevor Lawrence? If I'm a Jet fan, I still would have won Zach Wilson. To me, Zach Wilson looked a lot more composed in preseason. He looked a lot better than Trevor Lawrence. And Trevor Lawrence got drafted to a team, let's put it this way, there's no fucking chemistry there. You already lost your running back for the year to friggin' Liz Frank, okay? Urban Meyer's already lost the locker room. Season hasn't even started yet. He's already lost the locker room. Jacksonville's going to have the number 1 pick again next year. And who are they going to draft then? Another quarterback? Jacksonville used to be a decent franchise, you know, and they had that little run when they had Bortles and everything was coming together. But then, you know, like everything else, it came crashing to a halt. And now they're a joke. Urban Meyer is not the coach for this team. I've told everybody that ad nauseum. I've been saying it since they signed him. And it makes you think, is Trevor Lawrence going to be successful in the NFL with Urban Meyer as his head coach? No. The obvious choice was this. Obviously, knowing that Trevor Lawrence was coming out in this draft, you have to, if you were Trevor Lawrence, if I put myself in Trevor Lawrence's shoes, knowing I was going to come to this dysfunctionality of a team of the Jaguars, I would have exercised my 5th-year eligibility and stayed in Clemson. And people are like, yeah, but what if he got hurt? Then he wouldn't get his big payday in the NFL. Listen, it's a risk, it's a gamble, but it's one you got to take. It's one you got to take because everybody in Jacksonville is like, oh, we got Trevor Lawrence. Oh, Duval, we're going to the playoffs. Duval ain't going nowhere. Duval's going to be like a 74 Pinto sitting in your driveway since since 85 that hasn't started because it's got a goddamn carburetor issue, okay? Let's call it what it is. That's Jacksonville, okay? It's never going to start, okay? Trevor Lawrence's best bet, in my opinion, was obviously to stay in Clemson one more year. Or you should have thrown all that money at Dabo Swinney, who, granted, never coached in the NFL, but it's a lot better than Urban Meyer because at least Dabo Swinney is relevant. At least Dabo Swinney is coaching. Urban Meyer hasn't coached a football game in how many years? He's been irrelevant to the game. Other than doing little pregame shows on Fox for NCAA. Other than that, irrelevant. But to get off that topic, because we could bash it all friggin' week. We could bash it all day, every second of the day, every minute. So obviously we got 32 teams in the NFL. We can't talk about just friggin' 5 of them. All right. So, you know, obviously you got the NFC West. Arizona's got a lot to prove this year. All right. Obviously they don't have Larry Fitzgerald this year. He hasn't retired, but he just doesn't have the urge to play. Does he come back mid-year? I think if Arizona is this close to making the playoffs, if they're this far out of it, I think Arizona's GM could go to Fitzgerald and, listen, we'll sign you for the rest of the year. We'll give you 10, 12 million, whatever it takes. Come back. That's, you know, but I think if Garoppolo is the same Garoppolo he was a few years ago, San Francisco is going to be hard to contend with. That it's literally going to be a back and forth between the Seahawks and the 49ers. Because I don't think the Rams are really going to, you know, you could tell me Matt Stafford's better than Jared Goff all you want. But if Matthew Stafford goes down with another injury, it's going to be the same result. If you're a Rams fan, just look at what the Lions were when Stafford was out of the lineup. I'm just going to put that out there. Put that out there, you know. And for all those that will watch this later, you're probably wondering where Jay is. Jay, unfortunately, you know, well, he's been working a lot, and our work schedules are conflicted, and he unfortunately contracted COVID. So I told him, listen, I'll ride solo for the next week or so, and, you know, just get your rest, and, you know, you know, it sucks because when one of your boys gets it, you know, you kind of feel bad. So, you know, in truth, and, you know, and the good friend I am, you know, I'm running around getting stuff for them, and, you know, listen, this COVID shit's no joke. You know, listen, I got the vax, right? Well, I got the first shot, and I don't know, just something made me do it, and I got it, and listen, I'm lucky not to have gotten it yet, but listen, not to get political, not to get scientific or anything, but people choose to believe what they want to believe. That's all well and good. But let's get back to the topic at hand now. Just, you know, obviously, you know, you have that out of all the divisions, and we were talking about this at work. I was talking about it with a buddy of mine, and they said, what out of all the divisions, which 4, obviously 2 from the AFC and 2 from the NFC, are going to be dogfights? Obviously, the AFC North is, because between Pittsburgh, Cleveland's vastly improved. I mean, I could bash Cleveland all day, but, listen, I got to be a realist here. Cleveland's no joke at this point, okay? Baltimore, I think, takes a step back. Listen, you lost Gus Edwards, you lost J.K. Dobbins, you lost Marcus Peters, you lost somebody else before that. Lamar Jackson ain't what Lamar Jackson thinks he is. And Lamar Jackson to come out and say, that this nor any other year is going to be the league, I guess, the year the league figures me out. Listen here. You're getting figured out, Lamar. You're getting figured out. It may not be against the Raiders, but somebody's figuring you out. I mean, look, Tennessee obviously figured you out, okay? And again, for everybody, and it's been said ad nauseum, you all want to anoint Lamar as the new king of the AFC North. Why? Because he's on the verge of breaking Michael Vick's rushing record. Who gives a shit? That doesn't make you the king of the AFC North. That don't make you a legitimate quarterback in this league. You know what makes you a legitimate quarterback in this league? Go look at Breeze, Rodgers, Manning, Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Dan Marino, Terry Bradshaw, Fran Tarkenton, Jeff Hostetler, Phil Simms, Boomer Esiason, hell, even fucking Kurt Warner. Go look at all their stats. Go look at every quarterback's stats from the 70s to today. That's what makes you a legitimate quarterback. Not this running around like some Joe Jerkoff. All right, none of that. None of that. And speaking of Drew Brees, do I think Jameis Winston is getting the Saints to the playoffs? No. They got enough drama down there that really hasn't even been discussed. Michael Thomas literally avoided phone calls in the offseason and then got surgery like 2 months before preseason, I think it was. Michael Thomas don't want to be there no more. So, and it sucks to say because New Orleans has been hit with a lot from hurricanes to Drew Brees retiring to Michael Thomas don't want to be there. Listen, trade him then. Trade him. Trade him. You don't want to be there? Trade him. Trade him before you have another Antonio Brown situation on your hands. Okay? And listen, that's not to knock on Antonio Brown because, listen, Thursday night's game, Antonio looked like the old Antonio. Okay? And I got to say, that's scary. And, and when you talk about former Steelers that don't really become more successful when they leave Pittsburgh, Antonio Brown may be one to break that barrier, but it's not going to be Le'Veon Bell. And Le'Veon Bell signing with Baltimore was just, okay, somebody's taking a chance on me, and I'm going to just go there. And now he could be on the roster in week 2. He could make the 53-man roster and be starting week 2 because they ain't got nobody. But let me, again, for all you Ravens fans, the same way the Jets fans thought this when you got Le'Veon, you're not getting the same Le'Veon you got in Pittsburgh. You're not. You're not. Because the Jets had no offensive line to create holes for Le'Veon Bell. The Jets didn't know how to utilize Le'Veon Bell. Baltimore's not going to know how to utilize Le'Veon Bell. Pittsburgh knew how to do it. Okay? And I said it last night that obviously with TJ Watt overruling his agent, if I was in Le'Veon's head right now, he's got to be thinking, man, TJ Watt brokered his own goddamn deal. And I'm sitting here riding the Pine Pony on a practice squad in little old Baltimore. Maybe if I overruled my agent, I'd still be in Pittsburgh on my way to a Hall of Fame career instead of a Hall of Shame career. Maybe you ever think about that, Le'Veon? Do you ever think maybe your high-priced agent kind of bent you over and stuck it up your ass without the devil's lube on the stick? You ever think about that? Because we as Steelers fans think about that all the time. All the time. I know I do. I always think, you know how much different things would have been if Le'Veon stayed? If Le'Veon just told his agent to go fuck off? If Le'Veon had just did what TJ did and walked right into Art Rooney's office and said, give me the paper, give me the contract, this is a good deal for me. Don't you think? Don't you think? Because I think so. If you're a Steelers fan that doesn't, think that, I don't know what to tell you, because that's what I think. I think if Le'Veon had just came to his senses and said, you know what, I'm not listening to my agent because he's just screwing me over, then he'd still be a Steeler today. There might not be a Najee on this team. There may never been the James Conner experiment, which sucks to see Conner wearing a Cardinals jersey. It's so unreal to see, but, listen, Conner had to do what was best for Conner. Somebody asked me what I thought the biggest loss on the Steelers team was, and a lot of people, they'll say, well, it's Bud Dupree. On the defensive side, yeah, but listen, for me, it's Conner. You got to love the kid's story, everything he's overcome, everything he's done to still be in this league. And, and then somebody on Facebook puts out this thing about, if the Steelers have all this cap space now, why didn't they pay Bud Dupree? Listen. Just because you have an iPhone or an Android phone or a tablet or a Galaxy tablet, whatever the fuck you want to type on, okay? The Steelers didn't have the cap money at the time. Do you realize the creativity it took to get Juju signed for a year, to get TJ's deal done? Do you realize how many reconstructive contracts they had to do? Do you realize how much money Ben had to give up? And not only that, for everybody to say that Ben's such a bad teammate, go watch Ben's conference. Go watch his press conference when they asked him about the TJ Watt situation. Listen to what Ben said. He said, this is why I took less money to sign guys like TJ Watt. But that's a bad leader. That's a bad quarterback. That's a quarterback past his prime. I don't fucking think so. And, and it's guys like Ben, it's guys like Tom Brady that don't get that credit for, hey, I've always restructured my deals so that we can keep guys to make the team better, because it's about the team. It's not just about me. It's not about my own personal wealth. It's about the team. It's about getting to a Lombardi. It's about always getting to the next step. Okay. And then Patriots fans getting all mad when Brady up and left. Well, you know what? Listen, I'm not a Brady guy. I don't defend the guy. But you know what, though? He up and left you. And you're so unappreciative for it. He gave you 20 years of success. And he left because he finally wanted his due and his payday. And Tampa gave it to him. So who should you be mad at? Tom Brady? Or should you be mad at hand jobs fucking Robert Kraft? So if I'm a Patriot fan, I'm not mad at Tom Brady. Just like I wasn't mad when Bud Dupree left. I knew Pittsburgh wasn't going to have enough money to keep everybody. And I knew somebody was going to have to take the hit. And it was going to be Bud Dupree. We all knew it. Bud Dupree, when he got his bag, he got his money. Congrats to him. Do I think he's going to be the same Bud Dupree in Tennessee? No. But will he prove all of us doubters wrong? Sure he will. I'm sure he will. But, if you're telling me that Ben shouldn't get credit for always restructuring the deal, and taking way less money when he was going to make $41 million this year, and took more than 3/4 of it and gave it back to Pittsburgh and said, here, go get Juju done. Go get TJ done. Go get this guy signed. Go get this guy signed. And then not only that, but to end it all with $20 million under the cap still. Come on. Give the man his due. Give Ben his due. Because I, for one, give every quarterback or any team player their due in the NFL. Whether it's a guy like Garoppolo, Baker, whoever it is, except for Lamar. Lamar ain't a quarterback. Lamar to me is an overhyped running back who just happens to play on the center. Okay? But getting back to the other topic of the two toughest divisions that are going to have to, obviously it'll be back and forth all year. The other one's going to be the AFC East. It's going to be the AFC East. I think the AFC South, it's pretty much Indy's to lose, even with Carson Wentz there. Because Houston, I'm sorry, Tyrod Taylor is a decent little quarterback, but they ain't doing nothing down there. You could sign Danny Amendola, do whatever you want to do. It ain't going to help you get over the top. And the NFC, obviously the dogfight's going to be the NFC West. And it's going to be the NFC East. Because does Washington improve with having Fitzpatrick there? It does and it doesn't. And you're probably wondering why I say it does and it doesn't. Because Fitzpatrick will give you 3 good games, and then he'll suck for 4 of them. Okay? History has shown us that. Okay. You know, in the NFC West, it comes down to really the Seahawks or the 49ers. It's really what it's going to come down to. But before I go, though, because I'm going to cut it short because I got to go get ready for the game. Probably like, hey, he's already ready. He's got his hat on, his jersey on. He's got his terrible towel out. Yeah, I got a terrible towel out today because they're barricaded somewhere. I can't get to them. So I usually have them all out, and I go apeshit crazy. When Jay does come back to the podcast, we're going to do a... we're going to pick our 3 games as far as who we think is going to win with points. Obviously, with the spread. Listen, I ain't going to do none of this friggin' prop bet bullshit. Its bottom line is, okay, we got Jaguars versus, let's say, the Bengals. Jaguars are underdogs by like 6. Plain simple as that. There's a lot of other things that I'm trying to come up with to bring to the podcast. But listen, it's week 1 of the NFL season, as Adam Cole would say, baby. So let's go enjoy it. Let the shit talking commence. I'm going to go upload the video now. I'm going to enjoy me some week 1 NFL football, baby. So stay safe, mask up. Good luck to everybody. Peace.